Hey folks, welcome back to another edition of Coins with Clutch. I'm your host, Chris Clutch. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Also, you can find me on TikTok at CM Clutch. And this is Loose Change segment again. And this time we're going to cover quarters. So hopefully you got a chance to check out the tutorial video I did on quarters. There were a lot of different kinds of quarters, a lot of different varieties. So I'm going to go through a roll of quarters and show you what I look for. Basically, the things I look for are silver, to see if there's any silver quarters. I look for any die errors or die chips or die cracks that are found, the most common ones that are found on the state quarters and the national park quarters. And then I look for S mint for San Francisco, and I look for any W mint quarters, which are the West Point mints. And remember what I said in the other video, the West Point mint quarters are worth anywhere between $15 to $25. So we'll get through this roll and see what we can find. All right, guys, we're going to get into this roll of quarters here that I got, okay? And I'll show you exactly what we go for. I can go through a roll of quarters fairly quickly. However, I'm going to go a little slow here just so I can show you, the viewers, exactly what it is I'm looking for. So, all right, so I'm going to switch hands here. So you notice how I kept the roll kind of intact as I took it out of the wrapper. So one of the first things I'm looking for, and I'll zoom in here, is I look for silver. And again, just like with the dimes, it's going to be a bright, shiny edge to it. And as I can see, none of these are silver. So I have here a 1963. This is a silver quarter. So I'll stick that in there just so you guys can compare and see what it looks like with a silver quarter in the roll. Okay, so you can zoom in and you see how distinct that is. No brown layer on that. That is the silver quarter. Here's another. There's almost one there, but I can see the clad from here. But this one here, you just pull it out, and this is in fact silver. All right. So we'll go through these real quick. So I'll kind of zoom in a little bit so you guys can see the date. So this is a Nebraska 2006, and really nothing to look for on these. Another Nebraska 2006. All right, this is the 2021 Crossing the Delaware. So what I look for on these are a few different things. And let me grab my pointer. So I look for any die chips on the hat of Washington. Sometimes it's what's called the crown error. There's some bubbling and die chips that show up on there. So we look for that. I look for breaks in the sword, which are just straight lines. And then I look for any cracks or die chips on the keel of the boat. But this one, just trying to focus, here we go. This one doesn't appear to have any of those die cracks or die errors. Then we check the obverse, and it looks good. This is a 1995. Some of these have what's called a spitting eagle die crack. This one looks like it might have it. Hang on. I'm just trying to zoom in and out a little bit. Yeah, no. So the spitting eagle crack would be from the beak of the eagle. It runs down to the wing. So, and here's a 1965. Here's a 67. Close to silver, but not quite. These are the first quarters that were minted in copper nickel. Here's a 97. All right, this one is a 2019. So again, remember the 2019 and the 2020s, what we look for on those are to see if they have a W or West Point mint mark. And this one is a Philadelphia mint mark. All right, this one is a Georgia, 1999. Nothing really to look for there. 97. Here's a 73. No. Oop. There we go. This one's 84. The A looks pretty rough on there. That's some postman damage. I might look at that a little later. Yeah, that is kind of weird looking. If you compare it with this one, look at states. Look at the A in states on these two. The A on this one goes all the way up to the top. The A on this one doesn't. So I am going to hold on to this one and take a closer look at this. 73. Texas. Nothing really to look for on that one. Here's a 98. 95. A lot of Washington quarters in this roll, so I was hoping to have a little bit more variety here, but all right, this one is a Frederick Douglass 2017 Philadelphia Mint. And with this one, so I look for doubling in the windows of the building. I also look for any die breaks underneath the letters, and this one doesn't appear to have that. So this one is a Georgia. Here's a Maryland. Nothing really to look for on those. And another 93 Washington. 99 Pennsylvania. Here's a 90. 95. All right. Here is North Carolina. This one is a 1978. Nothing to look for there. 72. West Virginia, nothing. 72 again. 91. Yeah, this roll has a lot of Washington quarters in it, which tells me that I think somebody went through this roll already. 85. Here's New York 2001. Alright, here's a 2017 George Rogers Clark. This is the Indiana National Park coin. Nothing really to look for there. Here's a 1969. 97. 78. There's a Denver Mint for the Everglades 2014. And finally a 1988. So yeah, nothing there, but we did find this one, and I'm gonna fire up the digital microscope and take a closer look at that, because the way that A stands there, that's a little funny looking. So I'm gonna take a closer look. All right, so I got that quarter underneath the microscope, and we're going to take a look at that A in the word states and see if there's any kind of indication that it was struck in error or anything like that. So there it is. focus a little bit on that. And I don't know, that could be just some post-mint damage. The A does look a little smaller than the rest of the letters in the word states. So I don't know, that's a tough one. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I'll put it in a flip. I'll make a note of it and maybe take it to an expert and they can tell me what's the real story behind this quarter. Some other die chips and die crack errors that I look for in quarters. I'll show you in kind of the diagrams that I look for. This is the Wisconsin quarter from 2004, and they have what's called an extra low leaf and an extra high leaf error. So if you see on the corn stalk, the normal quarter would have this stalk and these stalks over here to the right. If you see one that has this lower stalk, that's considered the extra low leaf error. So you want to hold on to that coin because that is an error coin. In addition, they have what's called the extra high leaf, and you see the error go curve up like that. So you want to make sure you hold on to those. Those are going to be pretty valuable. I mentioned the spitting eagle when I went through my roll. All right, it's caused by two clashes with no coin in between them, causing the images to transfer. So as you can see, you see the line that goes from the beak all the way down to the wing. That's considered a spitting eagle. I'll show you some other ones here that we look for. This is the 2021 Tuskegee Airmen, Alabama National Park quarter. We look for what's called the burning building error. This is just a bunch of die chips and die cast errors in the building, and we call it the building error. Also, there's been known to be some errors with what looks like dropping bombs from the airplanes onto the building. So that's what you look for there. The 2016 Harper's Ferry, West Virginia National Park quarter has a bunch of errors that we look for. We look for what's called a snowy roof. We look for die errors there and there. We look for the bell tower. We look for snow on the bell tower. We look for broken and leaky barrels right along the edge. And we look for doubling in the windows. So quite a few errors we look for there. The Nevada. Here is a Nevada. We call the pooping horse die chip. Okay, you can actually see right here what we look for. Okay, not going to get into any more detail on that. The 2005 Kansas, we look for rust grease error. So we basically look to see if in God we rust instead of trust. The T would be completely greased off of there. We look for, in the 2008 Arizona, we look for extra leaves that are covering the initials that are supposed to be on the bottom of the tree. And then in 2005, the Minnesota, we look for extra tree die chips right there. There's a couple other ones. There's, I don't think it's on this chart here, but there's also I'll show you here on this sheet here, the Delaware, there's called the spitting horse one. New Hampshire with a missing mint mark. Kentucky, broken window on the house. Vermont, leaking or broken bucket die chip. And you look over here, here's a whole list of some other ones. High leaf and low leaf. Here's what a high leaf would go for. Here's what a low leaf would go for. So you definitely find those. You want to keep those. In God We Rust for your Kansas. We went over these. Alaska has a die chip on the 5th claw, so we call that a 6 claw bear that's on the back of the Alaska quarter. And then, once you get into your state quarters or your national park quarters, then, there's different die chips to look for there. Okay. Again, here's 2019 and 2020 W's. Less than 1% of Q quarters will have a W mint mark, and less than 1% RWs. Also look for the V75 mark on the 2020s. Those show up in the front. And here's the rest of them. In addition, there's some known die errors on the new 2022 women's quarters, such as the Maya Angelou and the Sally Ride quarters. Specifically on the obverse for Washington, they have what's called a drooling Washington. You look for any die chipping around the mouth, the corner of the mouth of Washington. So haven't seen any of those yet, but those are out there. Well, there you have it, folks. I wish that quarter roll was a little more exciting than what it was, but you know, that's the nature of getting rolls of quarters. So sometimes you get good ones and sometimes you don't. So that's why we're in this business. So, but you know, just remember when you go through your quarters, look for any silver quarters, look for any die chips or die cracks, and look for your S mint marks for San Francisco, and look for your W mint marks for West Point. Okay, that's the most important to look for. All right, so again, I'm Chris Clutch. Thank you for joining me on Coins with Clutch. Next, I'll be getting into half dollar, so make sure you stay tuned for those tutorial videos and a loose change segment. Again, have a blessed day.